Why are you smirking?
I'm a generally happy guy.
Okay. But
there's no but attached to that.
You had some smart ass comment to say.
Not even a little bit.
Okay.
I don't actually.
Okay.
You just turn around with an intensity, so I was trying to match it. Like, all right, here we go. And
with a smile, like a smirky smile.
No, you just turn with some intensity, like we're going to get into it.
It's intense. It's going to be intense. We'll be back to school.
All right. For the record, I'm not going back to school.
No.
Okay.
Kids are going back to school.
Yeah. The intensity is gone. It is replaced with a profound disappointment.
All right. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, doctor.
I have a question for you.
I bet I know what it's about.
What?
Back to school.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's happening tomorrow.
You don't know what the question is?
Nope. I don't know. No, I don't.
Any guesses? What would you guess?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you that the kids are back at school?
Oh, I am very excited. It has been very, very stressful couple of weeks. Everybody's like, ooh, you get to be at the cabin. You're so lucky to be at the cabin. I am very lucky to be at the cabin. However, I get zero work done when I'm by myself and a child. And I'm far, far behind. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack with how much work I have. So I'm excited for kids to be back at school. So I can actually have my work day to myself again.
So would you consider that a 10?
Yes.
On the excitement meter?
Yes.
Cool.
It'll be good to get back into structure and routine and stuff too.
Yeah, and the kid's not staying up until like midnight.
I know. It's so late. Sleeping until like mine didn't come out of the room until like 11 today.
Yeah, she rolled out in time for lunch.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
Pix has been a consistent 10 o'clock. She's always been a sleeper inner though. Mine is usually like, just like me, usually 6, 7, maybe is a sleep in. I almost slept in until almost 7 one day.
Well, I slept in today but I didn't go to bed until like 2 in the morning.
Oh no, today I was up at like 4:55.
I stayed up late watching something, so I shouldn't have.
What were you watching?
The Boys.
What's that?
It's an Amazon show based on a comic book of the same name. Huh. I was trying to finish off the season, so I stayed up too late.
Never heard of it.
It's good.
I got to go to bed.
What did you think of The Nice Guys?
That's all right. I'd already seen it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't remember all of it, but I'd seen it.
Cool.
Okay, so my question is, how do we balance between support and not creating a dependency trap? And I'll clarify what that means. And then failure. So dependency trap is every time we remind kids, where's your homework? Do your homework. What's for homework? Or go brush your teeth. Get ready for school. Did you pack your lunch kit? Did you unpack your backpack? All of those things, we create a dependency trap every time. And then we butt our heads against the wall, but we're still repeating ourselves until we get frustrated. And they're like, sorry. And like, I'm always, don't say sorry, just do it. Right? So frustration. But how do we still be supportive? And then at what line? Because I always talk about, kids do need to learn natural consequences and failure. But at what point? So do we need to be supportive versus letting them fail? I guess that's kind of my question.
So I think what works for us the most is taking the time to set things up prior to. So the key for us that has worked in the past, using school as an example, is get everything prepared, get everything ready, get it all laid out, and then have them put it all together so they know they have everything they need. Once that is in place, it usually operates like fairly consistent. The kids don't lose stuff. Last year's a perfect example. They were still having to wear masks to school right during the pandemic. So prepping their bag was, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have your mask? Right? Or do you have spare masks in your bag? The kids pretty quickly picked up on it. Right? And so it's the times that we don't spend that time prepping. So we don't understand. So I'll get to your specific question in a second, but I think the support needs to happen before the actual event. So rather than chirping at them the morning of, do you have everything packed? Do you have everything packed? Do you have everything packed? Did you get everything? Everybody gets freaked out. Something gets forgotten. It's a big rush. It's the day or the night before of, what do we need in the backpacks? right? What do you want for lunch tomorrow? All those questions can be answered. Our kids are old enough now that they tend to make their own lunches, varying degrees of nutrition. But
or zero nutrition usually.
rice cakes have some, I'm sure, somewhere buried deep. But it's still that preparation, right? That to me is where the support needs to lie, because I've got my own stuff going on the next morning, right? You and I both don't have a ton of free time just to sip a coffee and read the paper and make sure the children are ready to walk out the door. That doesn't happen. I've got a meeting at this time. I'm out the door at this time. You're either in the truck getting a ride or you're figuring out your own way to school, and I'm gone. And everybody is just kind of all hands on deck. So I think that to me is where the support needs to come in. Once that's in place, though, I firmly shift to a life lesson model, which is sucks that you forgot that.
Yeah.
Right. And the one that drives me the nuts that I refuse to get into again anymore is warm weather clothes or bad weather clothes.
Oh, yeah.
That absolutely hands down. The amount of times in January I've looked at one of our children wearing a thin shirt and obviously no jacket, hat, gloves, anything even remotely close to them as we leave the house, and said, "Where's your jacket?" And the look of astonishment that they might actually need warm clothing just drives me nuts. Yeah. So to me, that's the one I struggle with, I think. But we've resigned ourselves that they should know, right? If it's minus 25 out, I shouldn't have to say, "Where's your hat?" It should be, "Hey, it's minus 25. I've got enough common sense. I should at least pack a hat." Doesn't happen, right? So there was only, I think, one key lesson last year where Willow got pinched on it, where she went to school. It was supposed to be bad weather later on that day. She rolled the dice and she lost. Yeah. Right. And she lost hard. And she walked home one day in really bad weather and vowed to never let it happen again. And then I'm pretty sure within 24 hours it did the same thing. And her answer was, "Call grandma," because she knew neither of us were going to have any sympathy. Yeah. Right. But that's kind of, to me, that's kind of, if I've done what I can to set them up so that they're ready to go and have it, then I'm not going to scramble to try and help them with it. Right. And that comes, we've talked about it before, homework thing, because I don't usually know that they have homework, to be completely honest. I got no clue. They put their own concerns on getting it done more than it, and it's never really been a problem. Some projects you can tell were left last minute, but we haven't had to step in and build them for them. They still get them done.
Yeah. And I think that that's kind of the piece where I was going with it, because I know a lot of parents do and I've just, it's been incredible how many high school / university students I've had this summer with parents just saying, "Okay, we need to get strategies going because last year was a big fail, and how do we support them?" Right. So that's kind of where I was thinking, but everything you were talking about too, I mean, what we talk about is going to apply, whether it's getting them ready for school in the morning, whether it's doing their homework, whether it's getting, out the door, dressed appropriately. I think the cold weather is a good example of what's the red line, where's the non-negotiable where we don't actually let them fail. For me, that point would be if it's immediate skin freeze upon contact, then I'm going to put my foot down and be a little bit more.
I never want to risk their health, but at the same time, a little discomfort goes a long way.
Absolutely. And they've learned fast. Wow. Okay. That sucked. I better have mitts, and not the little dollar store finger mitts. Like, I need to have good, proper mitts if I want to hang outside with my friends and play the way we're playing. Right. So that's all that kind of stuff. And I agree with you. Everything is proactive. And that's the one thing I always talk about is let's be proactive, setting up our expectations right from the get-go, so everybody's on the same page, and letting them know what the consequences are. Because I think the biggest thing, the trap that we fall into is, "Oh, you're on your cell phone too much. I'm taking it away for a week." So we're very reactive. We aren't, but parents in general are very reactive.
We're the greatest. That's why we got our own podcast.
When something happens, but then it's not fair to the kids. So that's why being proactive about what those expectations are around homework or study or packing your own backpack and letting them know, for me, if you don't unpack, that was probably my biggest frustration through the year is one child not unpacking her lunch kit, and then it's there for a week. So if you want me to clean your lunch kit, so you've got it the next day, I'm willing to do that, but I'll know you want me to if you've unpacked it, right? So it's bringing that choice. I'll know you want me to when you've done your responsibility. Then I'll give you the privilege of cleaning it for you and making sure you've got enough, whatever, for lunch tomorrow. I mean, now that they're making their own lunch, before it was, I'll know you want me to make you lunch when all of this stuff is done, right? But now they're making their own. But it's the same sort of thing. When it comes to homework, though, I know that we've had a previous episode just on what our role in education is. And I know a lot of parents have a hard time letting that go. And they go into power school and they're like, I'm not going to, but then they do. And they see all these missed assignments or whatnot. And so again, it's about being proactive. If you're a family that feels the need to stay on top of homework, I guess you and I aren't. And I think our kids are all the better for it because they know we're not there watching them. We haven't created, that's the dependency trap that I think a lot of families fall into.
Well, and another component of that's important. It's not even so much whether we check or not. It's that we've made it very clear that they're responsible for dealing with the results of their effort or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to give you an excuse to your teacher if you missed an assignment. You want to talk to them about changing the due date or the fact that you didn't do it? Well, send them an email or go talk to them.
Totally.
Right. And it's uncomfortable that first time you miss your parents aren't going to bail you out. Right. And it's not that I don't care. It's not that I don't want them to do well, but me rushing in to talk to the teacher about what we can do for them is irrelevant because there's again, discomfort teaches a lot of lessons, right? Mm-hmm. I don't want them to be nervous. I don't want them to be stressed, but I also don't want them to feel that there's zero repercussions for missing something that you're supposed to be doing, right? Mm-hmm. And most of the time, teachers react quite positively when a kid comes to them and says, hey, this is my situation. I think there's only been one or two times, and it wasn't even that major. The teacher just brushed them off, right? Like it wasn't a thing. But beyond that, I think they need to be able to, we set it up that our expectation is if you've got work, get it done. You can choose when you get it done, right? Like you want to leave it to the last minute, that's stupid. But hey, I grew up like that, so I get that mentality, right? But at the same time, you leave it to the last minute and you miss it, man, that sucks. It sucks that you're going to school with an unfinished project, right?
And that's that adjective, that validating, like, man, that sucks.
Yeah. Man, I bet... taking it further, I bet there's going to be some pretty dope projects that you're going to see. Too bad yours isn't one of them.
Well, I wouldn't go like that, but
I'm kidding. But I've seen that that real level of discomfort and I'm not going to say shame, but to a degree, like school is all about not standing out for the wrong reasons. Right? Mm-hmm. To your peers and to your teachers and to the administrators, you never want to be known, right? Because it means you've messed up, right? In a weird way. And yes, we want kids to be individuals and pursue their own interests and blah, blah, blah. But let's be honest, school is about fitting in and getting through it for a large degree of it. So you don't want to be that kid that didn't do the assignment and is going to get called out for it because that's attention you don't want, right? And when you experience that once, you don't need to experience it again, hopefully.
Yeah, I guess.
No, you don't, because you don't agree with that statement at all.
No. But then there's some kids who wouldn't care and they would then the behaviors come out and
fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like we're lucky because we've got girls who are in the game who still want to do good and be good. I mean, all kids want to do good and be good, but our kids are still motivated to try, whereas some kids aren't. And so that's where that doesn't actually
fair enough.
Make sense because, but anyway, I mean, it is. And there have been panic mornings. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this. And one of the girls try and get her homework done that morning that it's due. And it's really just the validation, like that sucks. What are you going to do? Right. There's not, let me help you and there's none of that. And so that's where we don't create the dependency. I think we're really good with that, but it's really easy for parents to fall into, Kate, let's go into power school and let's do this and let's do that. And they're always telling kids the next step and the next step and the next step. All of a sudden they're in grade 12 and they have no idea where to even start or what the next step is. So, but there is a line, at what point do you just, wash your hands and say, you do you? Oh, that sucks that you failed grade 12,
Yeah.
So for me, like now they're young enough, although Maya's going into grade 11 now. So if she fails, she's going to have to redo or do like upgrade or whatnot.
Whatever,
I mean, she's not going to fail. I don't think. You never know, but I think she's motivated to learn. But I think for a lot of parents, being proactive, how are we going to set this morning off, this day off to be successful? How are we going to help make this week successful, the semester, this year? Let's make a plan. And the more we can plant seeds and create healthy habits over the summertime, I would have loved. I had the idea of doing a little bit of reading every day. Well, I mean, our girls were reading, but a little bit of reading something maybe that they didn't necessarily enjoy, or a little bit of writing every day. And so laying that foundation of knowing every day that whether I have homework or not, whether I have a test to study for or not, I'm going to do 5 or 10 minutes of review. I'm going to review my notes every single day. I'm going to organize my notes every single day. I'm going to take 10 minutes, and maybe I'm setting a timer. You can do anything for 10 minutes and doing that just so that long term, we're building these automatic habits and routines into our day and giving them the skills. And I think saying that the skills piece is what it comes down to. I'm never going to let a child fail if they don't have the skills to be successful in the first place.
Totally.
And so that's where, for me, it's your choice. If you do homework, I'm here to help if you need it. It's your responsibility to watch your homework, to pack your lunch, to do whatever. But if I know they don't have the skills in the first place, that's where I need to give a little bit more support. And so I think that that's a job for us as parents, is to maybe look at, where are the frustrations? Where are we butting heads? Looking at what are the lagging skills?
Yeah.
And I think one of the lagging skills, both of our girls have ADHD. And I think one of the lagging skills that ours have is time management and knowing how to get started on things earlier than the night before. They both do great with that fire under their butts. And so that's why this summer I wanted to be proactive and start setting healthy. Actually, even last year was something as Maya was hitting high school, but there is some pushback to it and I can't force them to, but it's, kind of being proactive, but putting those seeds in too, of how to set up those healthy study strategies or whatnot.
Well, and it's, to me, it comes back to the earlier comment about the proactivity on both sides, right? Like us being proactive and setting them up in a way that's going to make them successful in whatever situation, but also that they have a vested interest or a proactivity about a certain outcome, right, is important. And that you're absolutely right. You can't make them for a lot of it, right? Sometimes a negative outcome forces them to readdress and modify so that they are more proactive going forward.
Which is why failures are fantastic, because that's exactly the motivation they need and the learning that comes from that.
Yeah.
But I think we just pad them from not failing, as society in general, from not failing.
Well, and a lot of like, as Maya's gotten older, there's situations where it's trying to show her how to apply those same skills to real life situations, right? Like last week, was it last week or the week before, the 15th, they were supposed to do, they're supposed to have their schedules up. And so Maya had already started to hear friends of hers that had them up in Power School. And I left it to her. I'm like, okay, you let me know when you need help, if anything's going sideways, right? Knowing full well that almost every single school year something is messed up with one of our kids. It's something to do with the Stewart name and then where we are in the alphabet.
True. Like one year they registered them in the wrong grade, like 2 grades.
Well, one year they forgot to register Maya at all.
That's true.
Right. So it's stuff like that. So Maya was starting to get worried that it was another one of those situations. And I said, well, you keep checking, but you tell me when you need my help with something, because I'm not going to let you not be registered in school. But I think it's also important for you to understand what's going on, right? Are your classes there? Did you log into the wrong place, right? Like figure it out. When it was apparent that it was absolutely nothing that she had done or not done, I stepped in and at her request, and I sent an email with her CC'd on it to some of the staff at school, right? And as they didn't respond, I escalated how I was trying to reach out for help. So the first time it was the listed guidance counselor for her name, no response. Not a huge surprise because I don't know who's in and who's out that week, right? Tried calling, no response. Escalated it so it included the vice president, including as well as the guidance counselor, no response. Okay, that's fine. But as she's reporting to me that I'm trying every day to get this completed and it's not working, can you help me again? No problem. And then finally, when I reached out to the principal, it got action, right? But to me, that's an important demonstration to her of the steps that need to be taken proactively to try and solve the situation. She's never done it before. Me telling her, we'll reach out to so-and-so. She doesn't know what to say. She doesn't know how to produce. So it's an easily demonstratable skill based on the fact that she sees the urgency of trying to get this fixed, right? And then immediately when they did finally get everything squared away and there was a problem with the system and they got her loaded and whatever, I didn't rush to go through her classes with her, right? She said, hey, it's up. I'm going to go through it and make the changes I want to make. She knew what she wanted. She wanted to maximize her spare so that it's at the best possible point. And it is. She did great. She's like, I think 3 days a week or 2 days a week, her spare is at the end of the day. So she gets out early. And then the other time, and the other time it's around her lunch. So she gets an extra long lunch.
Did you take spares?
Yeah, spares were rad. I was so good at spares. Like that was my best class.
I didn't take a spare. I didn't have room in my schedule for a spare ever.
Shocking.
Why?
Do you have spares today? No, because you don't have any time in your schedule for spares. This will be another podcast episode.
But I also graduated with like 130 credits.
So, okay. So that, hang on though. That brings up a really, really
maybe not
important,
130,
that brings
a
up
lot of credits.
a follow-up
way
question.
More than I needed.
How hard was it for you to get to university every day with the daily parade of people celebrating that you had 130 credits and never took a spare? Like, was it tough to get to the university campus? I don't know, because I never had that. I was a straight shot.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, why do we? And that was a bad thing for me, just killing myself as a kid. And now I'm killing myself as an adult. And for what?
Just for the conversation I had with our kids, with our kid in particular, I'm like, oh yeah, you absolutely want to get your spare at this point of the day or this point of the day. And if don't do it in the morning, get your shitty stuff out of the way in the morning and then get out of school early. She's like, yeah. And that's what she set up. So she knows she could get out early.
But it's funny because university was a different story. I never had classes after 11 o'clock because the Den opened. The Den is the on-campus pub.
Yeah.
And so I knew I would never be at a class once the bar opened.
Totally.
So I knew all my classes were at 11. So university, at least the first 2 years, was a different story for me. Probably because I was so woundly tight from
woundly tight?
Well, tightly wound. It's my ADHD.
I 100% want to get that onto a t-shirt for you. Wildly tight.
My ADHD brain, and I'm just.
But it's important that she was able to figure that out, right? Like she's got to build. I don't give a shit what her schedule is during the day. Yep. No offense. Like, go do your school. You don't care how many meetings I have a day. I don't care how many classes you have a day. I care that you're engaged. I care that you do what you're supposed to.
But what's that? She's supposed to drive me to work in the morning. She can't ditch me at work.
No, but she can go in early and hang at your office.
That's true.
Or she could walk the 5 minutes to her new school.
Home.
From home.
Oh, yeah. No, she's very excited to drive to school.
Yeah, there's a real good chance that I'll be picking you up a lot of days after she ditches you and comes home early.
I guess I could walk home too. But
no, it's all part of the same structure in my mind, right? Like me rushing in and solving her class schedule does nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know what she wants. I don't care what she wants, right? It's up to her. Right. But at the end of the day, you've now made a commitment on how that's going to go. You better follow through. And
you did like that's a key piece. We're teaching by modeling. This is step 1. This is step 2. This is how I say it and phrase it.
Yeah. And like when her guidance counselor finally got back to us last week, super, super quick turnaround. I didn't respond. It was a message that Maya was on. Maya and we were here. And I just yelled to Maya, hey, so-and-so got back to you, you respond. I don't need to respond to this. Mm-hmm. You tell her if everything's good. And Maya did, right? So it's stuff like that. It's to me, it's those interactions and those framing of situational situations that you need to solve that me barreling in doesn't do anything. I'm going to solve it differently, right? I'm going to make it more awkward if I'm doing it because I'm upset or whatever it is, right? The same applies to getting ready for school, for following through on what you need to follow through on. I mean, it comes back to the example we had where she got into it with that one history teacher,
Yeah.
right? You and I never talked to the teacher through the entire thing. We never ran to her rescue. It was Maya's got to deal with it, right? You go deal with it. You started it, right?
And even this summer, I implemented if you need help with something, that's fine. But I need you to tell me the 3 strategies you've already tried. Because sometimes they get into almost like this helpless victim, like, they're barely even touching whatever it is they need help with, barely touching, like, I can't do it. It's so hard. Okay, well, you tell me the 3 things that you've tried differently. And then I will step in and help. Right. And so they've really, I've really seen that difference, them problem solving, trying to figure it out, knowing they got to try 3 things before they come and get me. The other day, there was a bit of an incident with one of them. She was really struggling to get into the treehouse, but she was trying to carry a gazillion things, including a chair up there. And there's like a small little hole to climb through. And she's trying to push it all through. And I can hear her going, right. And like making all these noises and then a little bit of whimpering. And all I wanted her to do was to use her words to ask. She came in, this is not working, and just all of the complaining. And at one point she did ask for help, I will admit, near the very beginning, but she hadn't even tried yet. And that's when I reminded her, Kate, try a couple of different things, to see how it works, and then come back and ask me. She never did come back and ask me. She tried lots. I don't know if there were different ways, but at one point she came back bleeding. She had hurt herself, and then that was it. She just gave up, and that was sad. But it was, for her, if it was really important for her, I mean, then there was disappointment later. Like, I just wanted to go and read in the treehouse. And like, that sucks, dude. Right. Going back to the adjective and really being able to validate. But I think later we were able to talk about it and realizing, okay, like I need to try my strategies and then ask, but it's setting it up proactively. And actually, I love our family meeting. We've talked about family meetings before, and that can be a great time. Even just looking ahead, if you just want to go week by week, I think for a lot of our kids, especially our teenagers, they can't see their future self.
Right.
They can't see much more than, our girls can't see more than a couple hours into the future. So, we tell them to do something in the morning for after school. There's no way they're going to remember it.
Yeah.
But so being able to set something for the whole year, I think is just unrealistic. But if you go week by week, have those family meetings, what do we need to do to set ourselves up to be successful? And maybe it's night by night, to have a successful morning out the door, to have a successful week, getting our chores and homework or whatever else that needs to be done. I think it's just being getting on offense. We're so reactive in everything. And I see that reactivity just more and more. And with reactivity comes frustration. So, and then looking at the skills, that's the only other piece. What skills, think about what you're most frustrated about and what skills are lacking. Because if you're fighting with your kid, there's probably something there that they just can't do. Sometimes they have the skill, but it's not the acquisition that's needed. It's the application.
Yeah.
They just don't know how to use that skill. So in the example with Maya, for example, she might have known, I know I need to reach out to somebody, but I don't know who or what to say or, and so that's where we're looking at some of that guidance. So,
and part of it, I think, as well as, and this is just specific to that one instance, I don't know that she knew how to escalate beyond the context she already knew to reach out to.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So to me, it's a demonstrable skill of, if that's not the answer, how do you find someone else?
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I agree. And the one thing I will say is I completely agree with everything, and especially the offensive part. But it would be, there's a fine line, right? Because being proactive or on the offensive to get things done can very quickly switch to doing too much. And
Absolutely.
right. So it's just checking in and making sure that if your kid isn't engaged in how it's going proactively, you've missed the mark.
And focusing on what's most important, because we can try to be on offense for every single thing. And I think that's where parents get overwhelmed and frustrating, and kids start becoming, we see the behaviors because we're harping on them for every single thing. So just focus on your one thing. This year, what is your goal for your child this year? For me, it's always the social emotional. Mm-hmm. How do we maintain their love for learning? And that's why I think for me, I've never been a harper of homework, because it's, right? We're never going to, even just the word homework, our brain associates with negativity. And so for me, it's always, how do we instill that love for learning and them looking forward to going to school, right? And wanting to learn and wanting to engage. And so how do we foster that?
Just by being us, just by being around.
Yeah. We should bring them in here one day and actually ask if they think we're rad. I'm sure they will give us a very vastly different answer.
They better not if they know what's good for them. Or else, you know what? There's going to be no toques or mitts at all this winter.
What do you think?
They'll have a learning lesson every day of the week.
What do you think they would say?
I'm ugly and dumb. It'd be something to that effect. That's their go-to, right? I look like a gorilla, or mom's better at stuff than you, or you're not the smart one. No, I don't know what they'd say. It depends on the mood we caught them in, right? Mm-hmm. If they actively wanted to be part of the conversation, we'd probably have a really thoughtful response of, no, I know I can go to you for this, or you guys do this, or this drives me crazy. But if they think they're little vaudevillians and they're just here to do, you'll never get a real answer. So it's tough to say without trying it which kid is going to be sitting in front of us at that point in time.
Maybe we'll invite them in and do that.
Just grill them.
Yeah. Well, I would ask them on an awesome scale, maybe, or a rad scale.
Guaranteed both of them give us 2 or 3 at the beginning.
Okay.
Guaranteed. Because they'll always start out throwing shade.
Yeah, that's true. We have very sarcastic,
ungrateful,
put her downer kids.
Put her downer?
I didn't know. What's the word for that?
Oh, you're wildly so tight. I can't tell what that is.
I'm like dyslexic with speaking. I'll say sand sanitizer, for example. I mix up letters.
You get that out of your face, proper. Sand, what was it?
Sand sanitizer.
Sand sanitizer. Band name.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring him in here. It'll be like an epilogue for this episode.
Good luck.
Yes. But what's a name for a name putter downer? Not because they're mean. It's just because they think that they're funny. And
they're not mean?
But they do it in a loving, joking way. They're not like, you're the biggest jerk in that. Like, they're not like that. They're like,
I don't know that you listen to how they talk to me.
It's a mutual you and them together are always teasing.
That's not true. I'm super supportive of John. But sometimes they need a reality check.
Don't say in junk. Just say I'm super
That's right.
supportive.
It's a great line. Great line from that movie. All right, let's epilogue this then.
We will epilogue it. What's a name though for a putter downer? Name putter downer.
You need to figure that out there. Sanitizer.
Like name caller.
Shot caller. Big baller. Hot stepper.
Name caller.
Well, someone will be like, well, that's a bully. Because everything's a bully these days.
I suppose. Okay, good day.
Good day.